Hello, everyone. Welcome to Fifth Row Tarot. I am here to give you your reading for week of February 24th. As always, I would like to say that this reading may not resonate with everyone. It is not meant to take the place of a legal or medical professional. I treat tarot as storytelling that might help the collective energy uh, process scenarios, things that are going on in their life, that kind of thing. Maybe think of it from a different perspective. So, and maybe get some new insight that would help them move forward. And quite honestly, at the end of the day, a lot of that insight is what comes from you, right? What you know inherently. Um, and that's why we also like to say, and remind people this is about free will. This is not meant to direct your life at every step, but I like the idea of it being a storytelling method. So, as someone who has studied stories and is a, just a big fan of movies, films, plots, scripts, that kind of thing. So, yeah, this is, yeah, I like it. All right. So let's go ahead and call in spirit. I call on my divine, enlightened ancestors and my enlightened and ascended masters and teachers to come through this reading to provide some guidance and spiritual perspective for the general collective. Thank you so much, Spirit. All right, let's get started. Spirit, can we get 3 cards for the collective today? Thank you, Spirit. Can we get 2 more cards for the collective today, please? Okay. All right. Can we get 1 more card, Spirit? Can we get 1 more card? Can we get 1 more card for the collective, please, Spirit? Can we get, oh, all right. Set that there. Okay. So the first card to come out is the 8 of Cups. The second card was the Moon. And the third card is the Hermit. Okay, I'm going to take a minute to quickly look at what we have here, what Spirit has given us today. So I think the Hermit came out in the last reading. But it looks to me, so first we'll start with the 8 of Cups. And I'll go ahead and see if I can set it up here so you can see it a little better. Okay. So the first card is the 8 of Cups. So if we look at this 8 of Cups, most importantly, we see this man here in this red cloak, red boots, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cups stacked up on the other side of either an inlet or a shore here, and this person is walking away from these cups. It looks like maybe it's night, or maybe there's some sort of like eclipse going on, but essentially this message is someone that is walking away from a lot of emotion, a lot of things that have been built up. Because cups are about our emotions, our spirit, our spiritual life. And a lot of things have probably built up in this person's spirit to the point where um, they've said, enough, enough. I have to go off. And so, mainly, a lot of the times when this card shows up, I see someone that is going on a spiritual journey. And it's very adequate, appropriate, that this card comes during Pisces new moon, which started yesterday. And essentially, what we do during the new moon is that we clear out, um, we clean up, we clear out old things. You may have noticed that my altar is set up a little differently here, in the background here. Um, and what we do is we clear our altar and clear our space so that new things can come in, but we do take the time to release what is no longer serving us and move into a direction that we know or even feel, because cups are about feelings. We move into a direction that we feel works for us. Now, notice that the person in the card is holding a staff to support this journey, to support. I don't know how many of you might be, avid hikers or outdoor people, but a lot of times when I go on hikes, and especially if it's like, you know, unknown or unfamiliar terrain that I've never been on before, and I know it's going to be, there's going to be like a lot of elevation, maybe a lot of rocks and vegetation. Of course, I mean, you're outside, there's definitely going to be vegetation. Uh, but a lot of times the staff supports our weight, supports our journey. And not only that, um, well, a hiking pole or a stick or something would support us on that hike, right? In the same way, this person that's going off on this spiritual journey, this expedition, is supported by this pole. Now, we don't just call that a pole. That is uh, that is what I would see as a wand. And we can see that same energy in the Hermit card here. And the Hermit not only has now added, um, not only has changed outfit here, he's added a hood, he's added a lantern so he can see his way. And it's very important that he did that because he is traveling by night. He's traveling under the light of the moon. So to me, this looks like someone is going on a spiritual journey. They're going a lot deeper inside than before. And I don't know if you all are familiar with, so I'll tell you. When the seasons switch over from fall to winter, a lot of times the story that comes up is the story of Persephone descending into Hades. And if you know the story of Persephone and Hades, essentially Persephone, very close to her mother, Demeter, um, Persephone was in a field gathering flowers and, just, kind of living her life. She was a daughter of a goddess. Hades had come up from his underworld and had seen her beauty and desperately wanted her as his queen. So he kidnapped her, and because he kidnapped her, all the world went into um, desolation. Like everything died, and there were no leaves on trees, there were no flowers on the ground, there were no, nothing was alive on the earth. And this was the season of winter, and the season, yeah, the season of winter. So, and I'll get to how the hermit plays the role in this, but essentially, um, Demeter, Persephone's mother, fought, asked the gods, can you help me get my daughter back? And Persephone was able to leave Hades, but before she did so, she was instructed, don't eat anything, don't drink anything, don't take anything, because if you take something, that now ties you to that place. So before leaving, Persephone ate, I believe, a pomegranate seed or 6 pomegranate seeds, and that's how. And when she got back to the the surface, it was discovered that she ate those seeds, and so because of that, sorry, my words are escaping me this morning. Because of that, Persephone now has to actually, she can spend 6 months with her mother above ground where it's spring and summertime and we get all this lush, um, lush greenery, and the world is alive again. But then in the other 6 months, um, Persephone must return to Hades. Now, how the hermit plays in, just for some reason, to me, um, the hermit is the person that is transporting Persephone on the river Styx. This is someone who is guiding the boat, essentially. So the hermit could also be in this hermit energy. You might also be guiding other people into this space of um, spiritual awakening, spiritual unearthing, where we go. I know a lot of people equate Hades with hell, but what's really happening is that we are going deeper into our unconscious selves to unearth truth, to um, become, to claim our full power. When we descend, I say we, spiritually, when we descend into a dark place, right? When we go into that dark place, we don't come out on the other side. If we are doing this consciously, we don't come out on the other side um, without having learned something. So this hermit has the lantern, has the staff, the wand, which I see as the energy behind spiritual action. And of course, cups are about that spiritual energy, where staffs are about spiritual action. This is passion and spiritual action. So you are not doing this internal study lightly or on your own. You have a guiding light. You are protected as you move through this space because this is something that you know that you need to do. And of course, the moon card, yes, means by night, but the moon card is also about our intuition, our inner knowing. I was watching a video on intuition last week, and a lady was saying, our intuition is really just um, the knowing that we carry with us about the knowledge of the world around us. And our body carries it. It's not just in our heads, right? Our body carries the knowledge, our spirit carries the knowledge, our DNA carries the knowledge. So that when we approach a situation, or even that we're taking in information from the world around us, we are able to not see, we are able to understand and have an inner understanding of what we should do next. And this is why I really love I really love tarot and the idea of free will, because when you start listening to your intuition, when you take that chance, right, of walking away from all you know in order to deepen your relationship with yourself, right? We have to be able to have the free will to do so. We have to be able to choose that to ourselves for ourselves. And I think that is a very real possibility. Okay, I'm going to take a look at the bottom of the deck. Ah, beautiful. So at the bottom of the deck, we have strength. Um, and it's funny, strength is one of the cards that I studied last week, just, um, trying to, understand it a little more. I'm going to put this down here. So let's talk about strength and the overall meaning to this reading. I mean, quite obviously, it takes someone really strong to go through this process of uh, self inquiry, go into this process of looking at our deeper inner selves, right? Um, but strength in the card itself, if we look at it, there's a woman with the same symbol as the magician above her head, um, who is petting a lion. So, in the wild, think about what you would have to do with your interaction with a lion. You would be a little scared, right? This woman is not scared of this lion, and obviously, this lion is not scared of her either. And both are sometimes strength. Oh, let's talk about strength. What takes strength? Of course, applied to a spiritual journey, that takes strength. An inner journey, being able to go in and think deeply about your life, that takes a lot of strength. Um, and it also takes courage. And this is what this card is showing is there is courage, there is no fear, but there is a soft understanding, a mutual a mutual agreement that I will not impede on you, you will not express yourself on me, and we will live in this mutual respect in this card. But let's talk about strength as let's connect it to our real lives. What takes strength? I'm trying to figure out something that won't be too harsh, but let's what takes strength? Um, Sometimes it's as small as, maybe realizing that, we've got to let a child be in a new social situation by themselves, as a parent. That takes strength. And in that situation, strength is the strength of essentially holding back our own energy, because you can see here in this card, this woman is not only petting the lion, but is essentially calming the lion, which is a bit like restraining or holding back. So sometimes when strength is called for in a situation, it is about holding back our own um, our own wants, how we are holding back the need to control a situation, holding back our, essentially it just takes strength to hold back those things that we want to do or say to influence a situation. So a lot of the time, um, strength could be interpreted as we are we are well, we're not putting our own spin on the situation. We're holding ourselves back. we're holding ourselves back in such a way that allows us to move forward in a bigger way. I hope I've said that, and I hope that resonates. I hope that helps. Um, but essentially, a lot of times it takes strength to hold back our ego. It takes strength to um, it takes strength to not take an action that you know is for the good of everyone else, but then that takes everyone else's choices away from them, right? So um, I think a lot of times that is what strength stands for. It's not about, how big our muscles are. It's not about how smart we are. It's about how emotionally intelligent are we to move forward and do what's right for us, do what's right for ourselves. Because at the end of the day, you're going to have to release, in the example that I gave, you're going to have to release your child into their own life. And so, so further than that, beyond that, the real focus is, what are you going to do with your life? What are you going to what are you going to do after this? And that's what this reading is saying, is it's about leaving these old emotions, old ideas, things that have become too much, because you're strong enough to do so, and knowing that your next move, right, and intuiting that you must go deeper and unearth um, safely. And again, you're cloaked. You are safe from harm in this. You are able to move in such a way that you can do this with no consequence, because at the end of the day, the only consequence is your own change, your own what's the word, your own growth. Because when we go into these spaces to examine ourselves, we're not meant to be lost there, which is why we have that guiding light in the darkness. We are meant to understand the parts of ourselves that we need to understand, and we are meant to essentially, this hermit will come out of that hermit mode and be able to fully be themselves, uh, fully be authentic. And that's really what's going on here, is someone is taking a journey, an inner journey. All right, so maybe let's get some guidance. How much longer? Oh, it's only 23 minutes. Okay. Let's see. Inner journeys. Inner journeys. What card should I use? I'm gonna use the archetype cards. You know what? Let's see. Should I do the archetype? Um, yeah, I'm gonna do the archetype card and see what comes up. So these are Kim Krans's um, Wild Unknown Archetype cards. I find them very interesting, because it definitely goes into some things about the psyche, the inner, the same journey that this hermit is going on. It talks a lot about the psyche that we find a lot at the base of a lot of fairy tales, story tales. Okay, we got the siren that came out. I think that came out not long ago. Spirit, can we get another card? No? Okay. Actually, let me try one more time. Spirit, can we get a card? Nope. Okay, so the siren. yeah, I think we've gotten this card before. And when we think about a siren, we think of heeding a call, right? And we might be moving toward this inner call, this inner knowing. And that's our siren call. That's the siren song that we're hearing. And that's what we're moving toward. So I'll go ahead and put that there. And at the bottom of the deck, actually, I'll take the bottom of the deck too, because the threshold card came up. And just on the outset, I see that, when I told the story about the hermit being the navigator for this journey, Persephone's journey underground, this is the person that stands at the threshold of the dark and the light. This is someone who kind of hangs in the balance, but is able to explore that in betweenness. So I'll go ahead and read to see what guidance we're given. Let me grab the book. Okay. Guidance for this inner journey. I'll read Siren first. And again, we had that I think not last week, but the week before that. Siren. Okay. I'll just put it right there for now. You can see, okay. Oops. Let's back that up. All right. The siren, the temptress, the seducer, the femme fatale. The siren calls and the world spins. What we thought we wanted pales in comparison to the sweet allure of her song. We find ourselves lost in the spell of desire and longing, perhaps even lust. Whether the thing calling to us is ultimately good or bad is somewhat irrelevant. It's the journey, right? This journey that matters. And the work of the siren is to take us on a deep psychic descent. What did I say about descent? Following her song, we go down, 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 to a place where lessons are learned and courage must be rallied to find our way back to dry land. Try as we might, resisting the call may not even be an option, unless, like Odysseus, we bind our hands to the mast of our ship. It's likely, though, that falling for her call is the only way we will come to live more fully on the surface. I don't know if I can say anything more than that, because that's pretty much what the cards are telling us, is that we've got to go on this inner journey. and for those who hear this and get concerned about this idea of descent, 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 go down, 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 you are protected. This is not descending into hell, but it is descending into a darkness that is unknown to you. And that, for some people, is hell. Change is, for some people, change is death. Hell is the unknown, right? We have to be willing to move into the unknown. And this is what the siren card is telling us. So, other iterations of the siren archetype include the nymph, the mermaid, and the fairy. They often come in sets of 3 as a trinity of temptation. When light, this card is about awakened sensuality, absorption, and arousal. But when dark, it is wicked, and in this sense, dark and light is. If you are resonating with this card, if it's in light, you are sensually awakened. You are absorbing and you're aroused. And those things are not bad things. Those things are necessary things as humans and as spiritual beings. But if we resonate this card and it is in darkness that we resonate, and not in the darkness that we imagine in Hades, but the darkness in spirit in which the siren comes through, we are feeling wickedness. This is adultery, this is wreckage, betrayal, and insatiability. So, to go deeper, we can look at J.W. Waterhouse's nymph paintings or listen to Lana Del Rey's album called Ultraviolence. And that would take us deeper into this siren card. Embodying the siren archetype requires that we explore things that are taboo. The siren laughs at conventions and constraints. She eats rules. And again, that's why I say with this hermit card, what's the card behind it? Strength. The card that we are focused on in the future is the hermit. This person is protected. The siren laughs at rules. So we are in a space internally in ourselves, right? We are in a space of being able to examine in a safe way and listen to the call. We don't have to, we can act on the exploration. And again, I don't want anyone to go out and say, oh, I eat rules. I'm the siren. No, this is about your internal space, you. So going out and acting this and expressing it upon other people would essentially be violating their personal space. This is all about you and your internal journey. Listen to the inner siren call. Imagine what it would feel like to go into, listen to the siren call and go into that space. So maybe listen to Lana Del Rey's Ultraviolence album and really start sensing how safe you are in exploring these things. Okay? So I'll put this down here and then we'll read Thresholds, which is this card. Go ahead and set that there. Okay, Thresholds. Excuse me. All right, 31 minutes. Threshold, XLV. You can see someone's feet kind of standing, just at the edge of some sort of portal in the grass, I guess. XLV. Okay, here we are. Okay. The threshold, the door, the gate, the initiation. We cross thresholds continuously, consciously and unconsciously. Doorways, gates, and entryways grace our path on a daily basis. When this card arises, it signifies that the precipice you stand upon is not your typical one. However, you have arrived at a threshold of initiation, here to usher you into a new reality. It requires you to leave behind the you. Wow. It requires you to leave behind the you, this you that we see in this Eight of Cups. It requires you to leave behind the you that you thought was so well formed. And that's exactly what the Eight of Cups is saying, is that we're leaving behind something that we have put together ourselves. Because those cups didn't get stacked by anyone else, Those are not just cups that are laying around. You stacked those cups. All right? A new frontier calls. This is not easy work. Threshold initiation means a part of you will be lost in order to make space for what is next. A metaphorical death must occur. Metaphorical. Some may not recognize you. You may struggle to recognize yourself. The ground seems to crumble as you free fall into your new reality. This is the liminal realm. One step, dear friend. Just take that one necessary step toward the future that calls you. Woo, this is big. This is big. This hermit is not just doing this because, oh, well, it's Saturday. I have nothing else to do. This is someone you are actually moving into this with a determination. You are taking this next step. In Hindu mythology, Ganesh is the ultimate gatekeeper. Look to the great elephant god for support. Hecate, Janus, and Mention are also watching over you. And I think, I believe the hermit might also be Hecate in some of these Greek mythology stories. I have to double check. So no, don't take that. Don't take that. Okay. Crossing a threshold may not always be voluntary. Sometimes we are thrown across the boundary through circumstances far beyond our control. Either way, we can't go back. So when you are resonating with this card, when this card is in light, you are you sense growth, you sense individuation, and you sense ease in the liminal. I'm not quite sure what liminal means, but I will put a definition in the description box below the video. When dark, you are resisting, you are refusing to grow. You have barriers and boundaries. To go deeper, lie on the floor and listen to Bob Dylan's Standing in the Doorway. All right. Wow. So, okay. So that is the threshold. This is a very deep journey that is coming. If not this week, these readings, even though it's marked for the week of February 23rd, this might also be, this can also be whenever you watch this video. So I hope you enjoy it. I hope you take something from it. I will put the under in the description box the guidance from the cards, and I'll put my other information in case you would like to book a reading with me. And yes, enjoy your week. Um, Love and light to you as you go on your inner journey. This is, you don't go through these things and come out the same person as the threshold card tells us, but you do come out the person you've always wanted to be and knew you could be, and you have the strength to take this journey. Okay, thank you so much. Have a wonderful week. I'll see you next week. Thanks.